Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. And there are two politicians with different expressions on their faces. Nigel Farage is wearing the big grin. Russell Findlay, not so much. Two Conservative councillors have quit the Conservative Party and have joined Reform UK, giving Nigel Farage his first two councillors in Scotland. Now, this, of course, will be deeply, deeply worrying for the newly elected head of the Scottish Tories, Russell Findlay. He knows he's going to have a hard time retaining people because of the way that the Tory party is now perceived as being increasingly left of centre. Labour with a blue suit, if you will. Meanwhile, Reform has all the momentum. It's surging ahead. It's got all the attraction. And people who are natural Tories, actually Conservative people, are finding it very attractive. And it's growing very quickly. And indeed, it now has apparently more members than the Conservative Party. And I wouldn't be surprised. And I wouldn't be surprised if that trend continues. But of course, this will bring worries not just north of the border for Russell Findlay and the Scottish Tories, but south of the border as well. We saw one go yesterday in Essex. And there will be more. And with Nigel writing to each and every one of the Conservative councillors in Britain, all 1,352, I think it is, you can expect quite a few more to cross the floor, join Reform, and basically eviscerate the Tory party. The Tory party works at its basis, as indeed do all parties, at a council level, because it is the ones on the ground in the local areas who push for councillors and things that also do the work with getting the MPs raised and up and into Parliament. And if the local party starts fading away, fewer members, less money, then it becomes increasingly more difficult to push candidates forward to be MPs. And those candidates who perhaps would have stood for the Conservative Party may well decide, actually, Reform is probably my better chance, And they'll go and again stand for the purple ones. Well, the blue ones, the purpley blue ones. I don't know what you call them. Whatever they are nowadays, pick a colour. Doesn't matter, does it? They're not standing for the Tories. And of course, as time goes on, this will increase. Now, you've got elections coming up next year across the whole of England. You've got 2026, you've got the Holyrood election. You have Reform on a massive charge. And the press seems to be slowly shifting. It was very much anti-Reform, Farage, this, terrible, terrible, terrible. But I think that the editors and the owners of the papers, particularly the more right-wing ones, your Telegraphs and your Mails and your Expresses, for example, they're starting to read the room. And they're starting to see that their readers are very much Reform. And of course, like any good newspaper man, bums on seats lovies. You don't want to alienate your own audience. And so the press is slowly acclimatizing to this and becoming ever so slightly less critical of Reform and Nigel Farage and, anyone within that organisation. And it is a weird little shift. And you can actually watch it happening, the evolution in front of your eyes. And so with that, with the warming, if you will, of press coverage and all the media, really, I think Reform now pose an existential threat to the Conservative Party up and down the country. I expect more councillors to go across over the next 3-4 weeks. And I expect a massive push after Christmas. We'll get Christmas out of the way. So come, say, February, early March, there'll be a big push for the May elections. And I suspect there'll be a lot of very, very worried people, particularly Conservative, but also Labour. There'll be some Labour people seeing what's happening and feeling the effect on the ground in their constituencies, because the people in this country are naturally small c conservatives, and reform appeals to what they believe. So it could be very interesting times. We are doomed to live in interesting times. Let's watch and monitor. Thanks very much. Bye.